There is always a debate saying that should we have a whole-time company secretary or not. He or she need to actually maintain the statutory register, commencement of certificate for a public company. Each and everything should be maintained by whom? By the company secretary. A number of annual forms and documents are required to be filled by every company. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students here. Now we'll go with the next session where we'll understand that what exactly the company secretary can also go with. That is the whole-time company secretary. Now here, if you understand secretary in the whole-time practice, what exactly it is. There is always a debate saying that should we have a whole-time company secretary or not. Now what is that 1956 Companies Act says? What is that 2013 Companies Act says, which has been called as a revised Companies Act? Now what exactly the law also says? So you'll be in a dilemma that what exactly is the opportunity as well as the future of a company secretary as a whole-time secretary in the company. Now we know that we have private company and public company. When we understand this combination of private and public, for both the companies we need to have a company secretary because he or she will act like a senior executive in the company affairs. Though company secretary are appointed by the board of directors and the help of managing director, but we should also know that there are few criteria which you are supposed to go when you go with the selection of a whole-time company secretary. Now there are kind of a company secretary where there will be some people who will come for a part-time job. Some people will be the whole-time company secretary. Now the question here is, part-time job is all fine, but one should have, and who's that one which we really need to go with, whether it is a private company which should have a whole-time practice or the public company. So for the answer, you are supposed to refer to the Companies Act 2013, where they have given a proper schedule as well as the section, that is the section 203 of Companies Act 2013. It says something about the rules 2014. That is, any company which has a paid up capital of more than 10 crores. How much it is? Any company which have a paid up capital of 10 crores and more, they should have a company secretary, that to a whole-time company secretary. That means from the morning till the company is shut in the evening, you are supposed to have a whole-time company secretary. Now the question is one more, that is, if any of the company their paid up capital share is less than 10 crores, now should they have or they shouldn't have? So if they don't have, what is the future of the company secretaryship? Now it is not like the chartered accountant where you have a lot of chartered accountant in a company, but in a company you have only one company secretary at a time who is being called as a whole-time company secretary, because you are supposed to go with his signature or her signature. Now this is what the thing is. Now there is always a debate about these topics, that is, should we have or we shouldn't have. So if you go with it, the necessitated that every listed company and every other public company having paid up share capital of rupees 10 crores or more to appoint the company secretary in whole-time employment. All private and public companies, see, when I say listed company, we have the public company has a listed company, but we are supposed to also know that there are few private companies who have a paid up capital share that is more than 10 crores. Now for them also it is what? It is rupees 10 crores were not required to appoint a company secretary is what it is. If any company, that is a private or a public, who don't have the paid up share capital more than 10 crore, that is they have less than 10 crore, they are not required. So such provisions were very much in debate, as it limited the role of company secretary in companies having paid up share capital less than rupees 10 crores. Now what has happened? We'll just check. Now here, if you understand that the Secretarial Compliance Certificates. Now what is this Secretarial Compliance Certificate? Now the secretary need to actually take care of few of the documents like this. The first one is maintenance of statutory registers. Now he or she need to actually maintain the statutory register. Second is annual filling. Anything done in the company, there should be something called a person who should check what exactly is happening, and he or she need to actually be there forefront and go with all the annual fillings, where the last they are supposed to go with their signature. And informing ROC, that is Register of Companies, the registrar of companies on occurrence of certain events. And the last one is mode of intimation. Now we call that person, the company secretary, has a senior executive. We know that there is a feature of company, that is perpetual succession. We also have a feature called separate legal entity. Now here you need to understand that a company has a special feature called common seal. Now a common seal and a separate legal entity, a company secretary will actually go with his signature. Only when he goes with his signature, whatever is actually gone from the company to the others, it will have a validity proof only when a signature of a company secretary is present. So that much power a company secretary have, and he or she need to practice all these four given things. That is, the first one is maintenance of statutory register, annual filling, informing ROC on occurrence of certain events, and the last one is mode of intimation. Now we'll go one by one. We'll check what exactly these four things are. The first one is maintenance of statutory registers. Now every company is required to maintain certain registers, and these must be kept at the registered office of the company. Now there are n number of things which a company secretary need to look into. When it comes to memorandum of association, article of association, incorporation certificate, commencement of certificate for a public company, each and everything should be maintained by whom? By the company secretary. See, that's the reason here, students, I always tell all my students that you are supposed to take up a job like be a chartered accountant or a company secretary or a person who go with UPSC examination. Now if you take up company secretary, I'll tell you, a hell lot of a job it is, a hectic kind of a job it is, but let me be very honest with you. You will also get fair remuneration. You will also get a reputation, a status, a kind of a feeling, that is self-actualization, that is you will be a part of the entire company and you are the person who will be called as a senior executive. So I'm telling you here, there is no gain without a pain. So please take up company secretaryship or chartered accountant, and let me be very honest with you, Vidhyaashram is the college where you will get company secretaryship training as well as chartered accountant training. Now here what exactly it is we will teach you how to crack those competitive exams also, that is UPSC and other kind of a examination in the meanwhile. Now various types of registers that are required to be maintained by the company, including the following. That is, first one is register of members. The first thing is how many members are there, and you are supposed to register all the members' name. Register of directors. Now who are the directors, when they were appointed, all these things you are supposed to maintain. Register of contracts, and the last one is register of charges and many other documents like etc. Now this is what the maintenance of statutory registers. The second one is all about annual filling. Now what this annual filling is all about? The first one here you need to understand, a number of annual forms and documents are required to be filled by every company with the registrar of companies. Now the registrar of companies have lot of formalities to be filled. Company secretary will actually take a lead and he or she will be there while filling the annual fillings. Now here these includes filing of annual return, in the prescribed manner, annual financial statement. You have all the other kind of auditing thing, that is internal auditing, external auditing. The company secretary should be there. All these forms of are required to be certified by the practicing chartered accountant or practicing company secretary. So it is equally very important that you are supposed to maintain all the files in a very clean manner, and nothing should be a mistake here, because a company secretary responsibility is very high, because nobody knows how to handle with all these situations except the company secretary. And when we go with the next one, that is informing ROC. Now, what is this ROC? Registrar of Company. On occurrence of certain events, please understand, registrar of companies need to be informed on occurrence of certain events. Some of the common events are as follows. Now, I have given you all the events, what can happen. The first one is change in statutory auditor. Any kind of a way you have a change in statutory auditor, you are supposed to report to the ROC, Registrar of Companies. Appointment of managing director and whole-time director. See, in the memorandum of understanding, you would have listed who all are the people who are the signatories, right? In the meanwhile, you will be actually writing what is the objective of your company and all other things. Plus here, you need to be very precise and very informative when it comes to managing director, because managing director is a person who is appointed. He's not selected, he's appointed. When he goes for the appointment, what happens is the board of directors and other people will give him the rights and duties. And here the managing director, it is very, very important that you are supposed to write who is the managing director of a company, and it is the company secretary who should actually alter the name if any new names are being added. Appointment, that is appointment and resignation of directors. Any new directors have been appointed, you are supposed to mention. Any existing directors have resigned from the office, you are supposed to report the same. Change in bank signatories. Now here the bank signatories, in the sense, when you go for a memorandum of association, you will have your signatories, and in the meanwhile you will have your underwriters also with the bank signatories. Any changes in the bank, what is that you should do is you need to inform the ROC, Registered of Companies, Registrar of Companies. Alteration of main objective of the company. Now, main objective of a company may be manufacturing. After 3 to 4 years, you thought that manufacturing is not yielding you a profit and you want to change from manufacturing to service sector. Now you can change it, but whom you are supposed to report that there is a change, that is a ROC. Now without the consent authority of ROC, if you change by yourself thinking that you are the one who is running the company, then I'll tell you it becomes illegal. Though the work which you are doing is legal, but it will be illegal in the eyes of law because you haven't reported the same to the ROC. Now, when it comes to a public company or a private company, please understand, I told you the criteria, that is 10 crore and less. If you have the share paid up capital, you don't need a company secretary. But here, if you change any kind of objective of any companies, now what happens is you are supposed to have a company secretary who will go to the ROC and then change the objective or alter the objective. That's the reason you should always have a company secretary. Next is change in registered office of the company. Now supposingly you would have registered office in Bangalore, and now because of you cannot pay a rent of Bangalore department, you will go with MYSURU. Now what happens? Again, you are supposed to consult these things to the ROC. Now I've given you here a brief introduction about what are the things you people need to update the ROC. The first one here is there is a change in the statutory auditor, appointment of managing director or whole-time director, appointment or registration of directors, resignation of director, change in the bank signatory, alteration of main objective of the company, and change in registered office of the company. Now, if any kind of a change is there, any updating is there, now who is the person who will do it? That is the company secretary will take all the responsibility and he will get everything done. Mode of intimation. Now, what are the mode of intimation for a company secretary? The first one here is every company and its officer must ensure timely filling of statutory return with the registrar of companies. Registrar of companies means ROC. In strict compliance with the requirement of the Companies Act 1956, and now it is something called 2013. If a company fails to comply with the requirement of the Companies Act, the company, every director, secretary and manager of the company are liable to penalty and prosecution. That means they can be sued. So who all are responsible? Say the manager is responsible, the company is responsible, the company secretary is responsible, the directors are responsible. That means if a company fails to comply. Now, how can a company fail to comply? The company cannot do anything. On behalf of the company, it is the company secretary or the director or the board members or the manager. They will be liable and they will be penalized as well as they will be prosecuted. So these are the very important thing about a company secretary, and the whole time company secretary is a very big task. But let me tell you, where there is no pain, there is no gain. So thank you so much here, students. If you have any doubts regarding this, please do call us. We are always there to help you. I'll see you when I see you. Thank you.